Hello and welcome back to Purple Does Poison, a Druid Blight caster life. We're getting towards the business end of epics now, hitting level 28, and we've just done the first one in the Deleras tomb chain. So I'm going to show you hopefully the second one, if the lag will allow, because it strikes me that this latest patch, although there was quite a bit of optimism, as my test might have shown, but also my recent play, it hasn't changed that many things for the better, I don't think. I've had a bit of a torrid time. I've gone through Wayloon this evening earlier, and there were some really bad stoppages with the lag. And when you've got a character like this who's a bit of a glass cannon, a lag stoppage is often tantamount to death when you're on your own and surrounded by stuff, especially when you can't heal that well, as we can't in Reaper mode. So yeah, I saw a post in the forum earlier from one of the better known members of the community, and generally a fairly positive person, I think, and he was basically saying, oh, I couldn't recommend the game, you know, to others right now with the state it's in, which is a shame, isn't it? It's a pity, because there's a good product in there, but if it's crippled by lag, then it's not a good product anymore, is it? Unfortunately. So I think most of us could agree on that. So let's not be all doom and gloom. Let's talk about where we're at, what we've done at 28. Epic Destinies, as I mentioned. Oh, we've got a couple more points to put, so I've been working through here. We've got a third point in there, so 100 spell points and 5 force and universal spell power, so that's not bad. We will take the less threat from all sources would be very good generally for a glass cannon caster like this, would be really good, but as we're never going to run in a group, it's completely irrelevant because the monsters will only ever target us. So for that reason I'll take a point on reflex save instead to get us to the next stage, and the next one will be a DDO and a bit more force and universal spell power, so that'll be nice. My main character has a DDO from this tree as well, which comes in quite handy. Same gear, exactly the same as we've been using, so we're still in a heroic Shan set. My main character does have the epic version of the spinneret, but I don't think I have a spare, so he's still going to have to make do with the heroic version. The legendary one is 28, so if we had one for him, we could upgrade that here. Otherwise, it's a mix of heroic stuff. I think all of this stuff from the boots right round to the hat are all heroic. Although that thing really shouldn't be called heroic with the +2 profane spell focus. That's ridiculously overpowered at the level it comes available. We have a heroic scepter there, although again something like that at level 5, 3 spell focus mastery is pretty overpowered in my opinion. So yeah, we're going to make do. Now damage output wise and DCs wise, from what I can tell, he's more than adequate, doing really well with that. But as soon as the damage starts coming at him, we can very quickly go from, you know, doing fine to really struggling. And because as I keep mentioning, I don't have that button for a one-click heal or a one-click, you know, nice boost. You have to just click the 3 buttons and wait for the things to tick up, which when you're in combat, which you almost always are when you're needing a heal, it takes some time, so that is a problem. As I mentioned previously, if you're doing elite or lower, it ceases to be a problem because you get proper healing. It's not nerfed by the Reaper. But being as these are ticking heals, so they're not big numbers on their own, it takes some time for it to tick your bar back up, even if I click all 3 together. And during that time, if we're already in trouble, we can get mauled and killed. So that definitely is the weak point of this build. But there are many positives. I mean, in the previous quest to this one, I was making good use. Finally. I mean, to be fair to me, there's quite a few different things I've got on the bar here, and to get used to, you know, debuffing things with the poison and then hitting the spell-like abilities, making use of the grasping thorns and the knockdown the tsunami has, hitting the contagion and then the acid well, which is just desperately damaging to the opponents. On that happy note, because we've lent quite heavily on contagion, although we're not going to be able to use it too much in this quest, if at all, because undeads don't get stunned by this, I'm pretty sure. But I took, for the level 28 feat, I gave him Crush Weakness, which gives 15% extra damage to any helpless opponent. Now this contagion stun does give helplessness, so I thought that might be a nice boost going towards the cap for any group of opponents, because we can stun them from distance before they get a chance to split up, and then just hammer them with acid well, and it's that's all she wrote if we get it right. Of course I never get it right, but that's the theory behind it. One of you asked in the comments, I think to the previous one, about a list of quests to do in general for a TR or at specific levels. I've no problem at all listing that or going through what I've done to get to each level next time around the wheel. It's a bit late to do it now for this one, but no problem at all to do that. Or if there's a specific quest one of you are struggling with and you can't find an answer on YouTube, which I would be surprised, because there's so many now out there for most quests. If you can, or you want some clarification, you can post it there, and if I am able, I'll run through the quest to the best of my ability, try and clarify things for you. I think that's about it. Let's just have a quick look where we are at with the character in general. So we're pushing, if we had insightful wisdom on the gear, which we really should have, we would be well into the 60s wisdom now, which would be nice. 59 is probably a bit on the low side for coming towards the end of epic for your main stat, but as I said, the DCs are still working reasonably well. Saving throws all in the 50s, which means with greater heroism that's going to be mid 50s. Actually in Reaper mode this is going to be way higher. The reflex is going to be way higher because he's got the Reaper points boosting that. He's got 7 more there to boost that up. And also 3 more DCs, 4 more with that wisdom. Let's say 4.5 more when we're playing in Reaper mode. I think Reaper 2 is about the level in Epic for this this chap on his own. If he was playing with a tankier character, I know you could say this about almost any caster, but some can cope better on their own. This one without the strong heal, a definite feel of the glass cannon about him. So to go above 2 I think is tempting fate generally. If he had a tanky character with him, I think they would have no trouble at all cruising along on 4 or even higher, because the damage output is good. To that end, let's have a look at the now bear in mind this is outside of Reaper. In Reaper it's higher still, and this is before I've got potions that can put 50 points on, well 25 on everything. That's this, you watch, I won't find it now. There, potion of spell power, universal spell power. If you didn't know, you can get those by trading in your commendations of valor. Just double click on them to bring up, oh come on game, double click on them to bring up the window, and there you go, potion of spell power. Now just for reference, in case you think you're wasting a scarce resource, if you've got any character who's staying at cap doing questing for a while, you're gonna get what will you get, 80 to over 100 of these things for every quest completed, depending on the difficulty. Every legendary quest would give you that. So 35, it's like you can get 2 potions of spell power per quest completed, and they last 10 minutes. So they're well worth having. My other point would be, what else are you going to spend too much of these on? Because I certainly don't find too much else to spend them on. So this is really handy. If you are a ranged or a melee, you have kind of an equivalent there, a potion of prowess, +2 to attack and damage rolls, also for 10 minutes. I have that on my ranged character Red. So let's create a few of those. I think it's lagging. Yeah, there we go. So that's the potion of universal spell power. We've also got from the portable hole, I think we got these potions of greater Nihil for negative and poison spell power, and greater erosion for the acid. Just to recap, both of our spell-like abilities that we lean on quite heavily are acid and poison, 50-50, and that is why it's so important to have this poison debuff, or it's a poison spell that we use in conjunction with this very nice enhancement in the Blight caster tree, Poison of the Hydra, which debuffs enemies to take full poison damage, as well as doing a fairly heavy hitting poison attack itself. I've seen that almost one-shot a standard opponent, or a trash opponent as they would call it. So the higher up you go, the more poison damage there is from that initial casting of the spell. And of course we've got all our meta magics on that as well. So yeah, we'll be somewhere. I'll bring up the screen again when we go in Reaper, and we'll see where we're at with the spell powers. But it's not looking too bad, all that. 700 and odd is not too shabby, and bear in mind we're adding 300 to that because all of our spells are maximized, empowered and intensified. So we're in a reasonably decent place with that. Hopefully I'll be able to demonstrate that at least offensively we are able to crunch through the content at lower Reaper level and have quite a bit of fun doing it. Of course it's more fun when you're winning, dominating. Less fun when there's an unforeseen situation and you just end up with egg on your face. As so often happens with me. I'm going to point something out here. I hope this isn't tempting fate. This is the first attempt at this recording. So of course now I've said that, there'll be 3 Reapers in the first room and there'll be a disaster on. These potions, by the way, these acid and what's that, Nihil, they're on a 3-minute cooldown, but they're still well worth having. That's a 20 alchemical bonus on top of the 25 we already put. So if you look now, 790 for the acid, so that's pretty damn good, and the poison's on 674, so not bad at all. Remember when Shard Storm goes off, it gives us a temporary hit point shield. Look how damaging the... oh, that was clever. I put the grasping thorns down and nothing was really hit by it because they were all ranged. But did you see what happened to the one guy who walked into it? Just immediately gone. Death from distance, people. Can't beat it. There we go. So that was the enlarge meta magic in action, allowing us to hit from extreme range. Just beautiful. Let's see if we can make use of the grasping thorns. I'm not casting anything else there. I just cast the thorns and we've got the ticking lightning. So you can see how damaging they are. There was a thing there at the back. Did you see that? Just walked into there and immediately gone. I've been telling myself for about 15 levels to make more use of that spell. I've failed miserably, and now when we're almost at the end of Epic, I've decided to do so. And you can see it's a damn good one. Let's try it again here. I didn't quite get it right, but they might walk back into it if I'm lucky. I'm not casting anything else, just letting them take the damage from that. I should have cast something else. I should have cast the acid well there and everything would have died immediately. I just wanted you to see that the damage stacking up with the two enhancements here, the extra neg damage and extra acid damage in there, is quite significant. We'll try it again here. It's useful in a tight space like this. Try and contain the things so you don't get swarmed. I think there was more than a hint of lag in there. Usually when I cast a spell and nothing happens, it's usually a pretty good indication that there's lag going on. Oh no, we don't want you surprising us. More lag there. Okay. If I tell you this is definitely a lot better lag-wise than the previous quests have been, then maybe you'll have an idea of how difficult it's been. For reference, this is a Sunday evening my time, so it'd be Sunday afternoon sort of US time, so I guess this would be peak time. For the feat at 28, I did have some other choices. I was wondering whether I should maybe go with one of the epic spell powers instead, like cold for the tsunami, or I could have gone with the electric one that we like to use. See there, I was halfway down my bar and straight away in trouble. Because we just can't... we don't have anything to just restore that thing when we go down like that. I bet it was that red crown archer at the back. And that is my fault, because my target prioritization is pathetic, to say the least. That red crown should have been the first to go, and in fact it was the last. Invisible would be nice through here, but I don't have anything to make myself invisible. You could use an invis wand, which you could find on the auction house if you have the UMD to cast it. Or sometimes there are low level items you can find as crest. Oh, look at the lag there. Quest rewards. More lag here. that have like invisible invisibility clickable things. Give me the middle one, that's it. Now what are you guys doing? Okay. We got any more of you up there? Now this gets a bit hairy, doesn't it? Let's set them off and then retreat a bit, I think. Yeah, I'm liking making more use of this grasping thing. Nice bit of crowd control there. Why I didn't use it before to its full potential, only I could say. I think it would be fair to say I take longer than most to adjust to a new build. So maybe on these purple plays things, you might see the best of the build's potential only towards the very end of the epic time, as is the case now. But to be fair, many builds take time to take shape anyway. Like, it's only in the epic that we get the poison and acid spell-like abilities, which marry up so well with the build. Where are the other two? So that's another nice combination. So where I can't really use contagion at all in this one to hold things, because undead are just not being affected by it. So I've swapped contagion for grasping thorns where possible. That's doing the holding and also doing significant damage, and as it's kind of pinning things in place or in an area, we can then use the acid well to finish them off, which is great. Oh, I thought I heard a... oh no, it was a... I thought I'd heard a soul. Oh, there is one now. Oh crud, that was bad. I was hoping to get all three and only got one. Can't remember if we had this discussion. I think we might have done recently about the importance of past lives. The quest knowledge is definitely way more important than that. Knowing what type of things are coming and when they're coming is just absolutely invaluable in staying alive. Can we prepare that thing without getting into too much trouble? Let's try get that going. Send some damage over time onto it first from distance. Crikey, we've got a Reaper Brigade here. Now that, did you see the contagion there? That was A1. Top draw. It's the one time I've used it in this quest, but my god did it pay off there. Without that, I don't think I could stop the Reapers. In fact, I'm pretty sure I couldn't. So that's a really great spell. You see how she's been debuffed to take the full... I'm pretty sure she wouldn't take one of either acid or poison there, but because she had the poison spell cast on her, she took both. So that was nice. Now here the quest completes if you don't know the Deleras chain when you pick up the book here. So if you don't want to fight the things in there, you don't have to. You could just pick up the chest and DDO out, or just finish out from here. So I think in a quest that didn't favour us, because almost everything was immune to the contagion, which is kind of our well, it isn't kind of, it's our best holding spell with this build. I think we showed that we have enough in the locker to be more than handy in the low Reaper. Where possible, it's really nice to use your enlarge meta magic that we've got always on to hammer things from distance, so they can't, like especially the Reaper, just hold it and then word of balance it, and then if it's not gone, it's almost gone, and it's not going to be posing you any threat. Or just, I don't know if it's a pack of opponents that you see from distance. Not these undead obviously, but general ones, contagion and acid well, and it's game over. So I hope I've managed to show at least that in that one that the build is certainly competitive and different enough from the standard Druid to be worth a look in terms of the play style, and in terms of what it's got available, how it deals with certain things, because the standard Druid, I think, would almost always be going into the Feydark tree. First, because that's probably a better fit. The two of the standard Druid mainstay spells would be the Tsunami, which we use less with this build, still reasonably often, but less, and the Ice Flowers, which obviously we don't have because that requires water elemental form. Both of those are half force damage. And where was I going with that? I've lost myself in my own thread. Oh, I was talking about the Feydark tree, wasn't I? And yes, the I can show you, can't I? Can I show you? Oh yes, it's there. Do you know I'm a muppet? So yes, in here you would go in there for greater colour spray, because that's your only Reaper stopper, at least until you get into late epic, when maybe you might take, if you're going the DC build, you might take greater shout in the Fate Singer tree, which also stops Reapers. But in heroic and into early epic, it's going to be this thing. Otherwise you can't stop the Reapers at all, as far as I'm aware. I suppose you could take the single target version of Contagion, but what do you do then if there's more than one Reaper? Like we had at the end there, we had 3, and that thing just made mincemeat out of them. So yeah, super effective, and just nice. I decided very early on I wasn't going to go into the Fey tree and take this like the traditional route would be, and give this a try, and I'm so glad I did. It's been amazing. Yeah, the standard build with, I was talking about the force, there's some force crit chance in there, which benefits the standard, or the cold Druid rather, much better than it would our build, because we don't lean as heavily on force as the cold Druid would. I think we can about wrap that up there. And what I'm guessing 20, yeah, I'll finish this Deleras thing, and the 29 is more than likely going to be something in the Stormhorns. So if you folks have a preferred quest that you might like to see in there, let me know. Just don't say what goes up. So that's the final quest, the one you have to flag for at the end. I'm really not a fan of the... I mean, it's a great quest, but the ending, where you get that section at the end where the screen all goes purple, and you have to be careful not to fall down the hole in the middle of that area when that happens. You just can't really see what you're doing. So I find that a bit of a pain, but otherwise the quest is pretty epic. Right, enough waffle. I'll get this uploaded. Thank you very much as always for looking, and I will speak to you soon. Take care.